day to everybody out there. It is us, the Why So Sidious podcast crew, coming to talk about Episode 2 of The Mandalorian in full spoiler detail. Check us out on YouTube and social media at Why So Sidious Pod and email us with whysosidious@yahoo.com. We would love to interact. So in Season 3, Episode 2, we find Din and Grogu stop by their tech rep in Tatooine before the duo heads to Mandalore. This is our first live-action visit to Mandalore, a place that has a ton of backstory, especially in the books. Din ends up getting captured, Grogu escapes and seeks help from Bo-Katan, who comes back to Mandalore with Grogu to rescue Din. Din is finally able to take a dip in the holy Mandalorian waters, but is attacked by the Mythosaurus. So, the Mythosaurus, kinda on the nose with the name, like unobtainium or something like that. But was this creature a big deal for you, Lub, or is it just another Star Wars monster?
This is a pretty big deal. So this is the one who, the one who tames this beast can unite all of Mandalore. Like, it's, when it comes to the lore, it's pretty up there with the Darksaber. And I think the armor tells Mando that in season 1. Isn't she going over that with him?
Yeah.
Right.
She says eons past states that, it's gone, but it will return to symbolize a new era of Mandalore.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And even Bo, when Bo is talking, she says, the mines of Mandalore were once a Mythasaur lair. Mandalore the Great tamed the beast, and it's thought to be extinct now. Until, we see, and the size of the thing is massive. I didn't know how big it was. It looks huge.
Godzilla.
Yeah.
Dude. It's a monster. Yeah, dude, there's super cool, again, because we've only got brief hints of it, and even Boba Fett, there was a tiny little bit of, hints, like he was talking about, I've ridden something bigger than a Rancor, which I don't think that one was a Mythosaur. They used to talk about Boba Fett riding the Mythosaur in the old Legend stuff, but I don't think that's canon anymore. But yeah, dude, they're full-on legend. The first time it was ever mentioned in Star Wars, actually, was in an old comic book issue where Leia and C-3PO got captured on Mandalore, and they ended up walking past a monster skeleton of a Mythosaur. So that was the first time it ever hit Star Wars lore at all. Wow. But it was also season 1. Remember Quill? Din was trying to ride that thing, and he gave up and got pissed. And Quill's like, "You're a Mandalore. You guys, your ancestors rode the the mythic the mythic Mythosaurs." Yeah, that sounds stupid. But yeah, so there's a lot to it, but I think this is huge because it pulled Din down, obviously, and it's this whole symbol of the new era of Mandalore and the new leader uniting Mandalore, like you said, just like the Darksaber, but he left him alive. He not only left Din alive, but he left Bo alive, too, and I that's got to be for a reason. I think there's really something that's going to tie back into Din being the leader of Mandalore and the one to unite them all, because, yeah, their legendary beast left him alive for some reason, so I thought that was a pretty huge scene for the future.
So, uniting them all, that sounds a lot like Mandalore's mask, right? Because at least in the Revan book, the mask was gone, so they couldn't have one leader, so they were all going to civil war with each other. So, it sounds like the Mythosaur, the mask, and the Darksaber are all three, separately. Whoever picks these things up or masters this thing, they're now the leader of Mandalore.
Yeah. That's funny you say that about the mask. Because, Revan takes the mask after he defeats Mandalore the Ultimate. And I'm pretty sure that's the same guy who tamed the Mythosaur and rode him.
Yeah. Yep.
Is that
Mandalore
not
the Great,
mask?
I think.
So I don't know where we're at.
I think they might have changed the name in for Disney canon.
Because the book, I don't know if he's wearing that mask that we see in the video game, but I don't know if that might have been Mandalore's mask. It does not look like a Mandalorian, so... But yeah, they got 3 different options to become leader. What if one person gets the dragon, one person gets the mask, one person gets a Darksaber, then it's just back to square one.
Yeah.
Right. Just 3 factions again. So yeah, I have a theory that kind of wraps around with the Mythosaur, Din, Bo, and the armor. So last episode, I kind of theorized that Bo and the armor would face off by the end of the season because they're kind of 2 sides of the same Mandalorian coin. They both want their homeworld back, but they obviously have massive differences and they do not like each other. So my theory was that they were going to fight at the end of this, but I have an extension to that theory, and I think they're going to start fighting and Mando is going to be split between the two. Because, he was raised by the Watch, but he's seeing Bo and he's learning all this stuff about Bo, and they definitely have respect forming in these scenes and these episodes that they're having together. And I think Bo's going to kind of be redeemed after seeing Din interact with this Mythosaur and seeing him bring this Darksaber. And there's just so much symbolism into a new age of Mandalore. So I think Mando's going to end up taking the side of Bo. There's going to be that massive civil war I was talking about. It's going to be Bo and Mando against the Armorer, Paz, and all those other, cultist Mandalorians. And I think towards the end, Mando is going to ride the Mythosaur into battle of some sort, defeat them, and it's going to show all of the Mandalorians on both sides this mythic being that they've all praised growing up, and that's going to be the thing that will finally bring the factions together, because they've been in a civil war for basically almost since the Mandalorian versus Jedi War. Like they've been at odds with each other. So I think this is going to be the thing to finally usher in a new age for the Mandalorians. It's going to be Mando and Bo. They're going to be king and queen, one with the Darksaber, one with the Mythosaur, and I think we're going to see a new age of Mandalore rise. So that's my theory.
That kind of answered my question,
Manbo.
because I'm wondering what Bo-Katan's. You guys would know more than I, and I actually want to ask you for myself and probably the audience. But Bo-Katan is weird to me because she's not a Mandalorian. She obviously doesn't wear the mask or the helmet, but she has the gear and she has an attachment to Mandalore. So she might have been a past Mandalorian. But real quick, what's Bo-Katan's deal? Why is she so attached, and why does she have armor, but why does she not wear the helmet?
She's a Mandalorian for sure.
Yeah.
She's actually royalty.
Okay.
She's more Mandalorian than Mando.
Yeah, she was born
up.
into it. Her family was royalty over Mandalore. Like, they ruled until it split. But the watch and the helmet thing was only fully adopted by the Death Watch. They kind of created that cult rule. So before, that wasn't just an all-around Mandalore rule. So all the Mandalorians before the Purge and all that, they would take it off. That was just kind of like a super intense cultist belief that they started. But yeah, Bo grew up there, grew up on Concordia with Mando, apparently. He said he grew up there too. But yeah, she's full on Mandalore.
So her attachment to, she wants to bring Mandalore together and become like a super functioning society again, and she wants to kind of rule them alongside Mando, potentially.
I don't know. It's kind of hard to get a read on her.
Okay.
Because, she definitely seemed more villainous in the first episode. And, even when Grogu returns, she says, like, I'm going to deal with him right now. Like, is she about to, like, fight his ass?
Yeah.
Or just, like, tell him to... That was kind of weird.
blow him up.
Assaulting a minor.
Yeah.
Right. But she does go save him twice. But I feel like when it comes to Mandalore, I don't think she has much, like, hope for the planet and its future. And especially after she didn't get the Darksaber back.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think she's kind of... she's over Mandalore. And I feel like that could be like almost the theme of the show, to where, it isn't about the Darksaber or Mandalore or a Mythosaur. It's about these people that need to, come and live together in peace. It doesn't have to be about this symbol. It's more than that.
I like that.
For sure.
She needs to wield the Darksaber, man. Like, she needs to.
Dude.
I'm so sick of watching Mando wield that thing. Like, I'm just over it. He's terrible with it.
know.
He stopped
Yeah.
shooting people. It's
I
just
was just
annoying.
gonna-
You got your ass whipped by the barbarians in a cave with little hammers. Like, you got your ass whooped for a minute there. Like, he won at the end, but like, he just pulls it out and then just shoot people. You're a great shooter. And then Bo shows up and we see some of the dopest saber play we've seen in a while. Like, just let her have it. Like, for everybody's sake.
Yeah, we don't want to see Han Solo fighting people with swords. He shoots people. Same with Mando. Just let him shoot people. That's where his strength is. But I'm glad you said that, because I was wondering if I was the only one that was like not loving him wielding the Darksaber. Like, it was blocky and slow, and but yeah, like you said, Bo picks it up and it was sick.
Just dope.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, that's my biggest gripe from that episode, probably, is I'm over Mando ruining scenes by pulling this thing out and looking like an idiot. Like, stop. Like,
Instead of shooting the people and making a great scene, which we've loved to watch him do for 2 straight seasons, like, those are some of the coolest scenes. Yeah, it's just put it away. It's more of a lore thing. Like, oh, Mandalorian Din has the Darksaber.
Right.
Like, that's more of a, which is cool in its own way. But yeah, as far as fight choreography, it doesn't work out.
no, it's terrible.
So let's go back to Mandalore itself. Mandalore has a ton of history in the books, and until today, we have not seen it on the big screen, right?
Right.
Not live action.
Okay, so not in live action, but here we are, post Return of the Jedi at Mandalore. It's like Gimli walking through the deserted mines of Moria. Was Was the introduction to present-day Mandalore satisfying for you, Dave?
Yeah, not so much about the lore. I mean, I thought the shots of them flying into the atmosphere and everything, I thought that was like some of the dopest cinematography that the Mandalorians had before as they're flying in. So all that was cool. And then there was a scene where Bo is bringing Mando to the waters, and they're walking across this massive bridge that's now underground. And that's actually the bridge we saw in Clone Wars Season 7 when Ahsoka and Darth Maul are fighting, and then the Mandalorians and the clones are fighting on that bridge, and it's like going down. It's crazy explosions everywhere. So that's the bridge they're walking through in Sindari. So there was cool portions. I think I was more excited about the Mythosaur, but it was cool to finally kind of see Mandalore as a whole and, see the mines of Beskar. That's pretty cool, seeing those mines. But yeah.
So I just happened to start revving. I had no idea there was any Mandalorian history in this book, but it happened at a perfect time because I'm like knee deep in this book, and then all this Mandalore stuff is going on. And after a second watch on this episode, I actually super liked the Mandalore lore stuff because it reminds me of how mysterious and unexplored Grogu was. And then season 1, the pilot episode, it ends with a super mysterious character, like a brand new Force-sensitive Yoda species. Like, that is mysterious and unexplored when everything in Star Wars is pretty familiar. So Mandalore, seeing how it started with this weird, crazy war with the Old Republic and the mask getting lost and all of them kind of doing a civil war, which made them vulnerable to the Empire. And now it's almost like I am picturing Bo-Katan being the one somehow out there in that book looking for the mask, trying to bring everybody together. But then, it's like it coincides perfectly with the Mandalorian, and here we are in Mandalore. So it's weird, but it's the end of Mandalore, right? Like, kind of a theme in Star Wars for Vader, at least. We saw his ending in the OGs, and then we went back and saw his beginning. So we see the end of Mandalore. It's destroyed. It's gone. And I'm sure we're going to go back and see Mandalore thriving and it's, back in its heyday. So I'm excited to learn more about Mandalore and for it to possibly rebuild as a civilization in years to come.
Straight up.
Well, I think the most significant thing we found out was that it's habitable. Like, it's been confirmed now. The rumors, everyone thinks it's, no one lives there. Even there's just mostly just some weird ass beasts running around. But there were multiple mentions of its former glory, which could mean something. Mando and Bo are both talking about how beautiful this place was and how, so that, that's that could be some foreshadowing to where, but I don't see that it's going to take like 50 years to, to get it back to anything the way it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of resources and effort, and after Bo and Mando are not around, Grogu's going to have to be the one that restores Mandalore, basically.
Yeah.
So maybe he will be around for a while. He could be the one to do it.
Dude.
And it was cool seeing that Mando, points out the moon, and he's like, I was raised on this moon, Concordia, which confirms what we were kind of talking about earlier in our Mando
the study guide
episode.
Yeah.
Study guide, right? And that's where Death Watch lived after they were exiled for trying to take over Mandalore. So Din never has even been to Mandalore. He was on that moon before it was all destroyed. He never even saw it, you know, when they were living in the underground cities.
Yeah. And that was cool hearing Concordia and hearing that Mando grew up there. Because, again, we got it, like you said, in Clone Wars. We see Death Watch and the Night Owls up on Concordia. And, yeah, we talked about how that was like their moon, and it got turned into a mining facility in order to fight in that Mandalorian Jedi War, and it just absolutely wiped out the freaking planet. And then, yeah, it became basically Australia to Mandalore. They just sent all their losers of the Mandalorian Civil War to the moon of Concordia and banished them all out there. And then eventually they started forming colonies and civilizations and all that, different factions. But yeah, it was cool. And I'm wondering if we're going to see flashbacks to it and actually see Concordia with Mandalorians on it. Or like you were saying, JD, maybe some Mandalore flashbacks too. That would be cool.
Yeah. So another question about Bo-Katan. Was she living in Mandalore when it was thriving, or... How long ago was the Purge again? She was.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up Lord of the Rings saying, he walks through the mines over 1,000 years later, because this was, 20 years ago?
Oh, It was right after Order 66.
Oh, yeah,
That's
so
right.
about 20 years ago.
And
2025.
Bo-Katan was living there and she escaped the Purge.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. she might have left at that point. I don't know. It's fuzzy because she was on Concordia and then they came back and they were ruling for a while there. And her sister ruled on Mandalore for a while and she was a pacifist. So it was like an era of peace for the Mandalorians, but she got overthrown. Whole thing. But I don't know if she was on planet when it hit or not. But yeah.
And it's post-Rebels timeline, the Purge, right?
Okay.
No, the Purge happened after because remember Sabine's like ashamed that she supplied the Empire with this massive weapon that ended up wiping her people out.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't think they went back to Mandalore and Rebels. I think they went to Concordia where she fought Gaz or Gar Saxon. I think that was on Concordia.
Okay.
But I'm not positive, I guess.
So, Lub, I was going to ask you who wielded the dark saber better, but we kind of covered that. So I'm going to ask you instead, who should be wielding the dark saber? Mandalorian, Bo-Katan, Moff Gideon, freaking Grogu, or is it just one of those things you battle for it, and whoever fights and kills people and takes it for themselves, it's theirs?
These first couple episodes are showing that Bo-Katan should be the one that wields it.
Good.
Because, Mando can't even do it, and I'm almost kind of rooting for her. I hate to say it, but I feel like it's not really Mando's destiny to rule. He's not.
He's like Jon Snow.
He's a good teacher.
He doesn't want to be in the Seven Kingdoms.
Right. He's a good teacher. He's a good dad. He's a good bounty hunter. But I don't think he wants all that responsibility on his shoulders. And wielding the darksaber, that comes with it. And, it'd be better if he just gives it to Bo-Katan and him and Grogu can just, be her sidekick. And because, Bo-Katan is the character that Dave Filoni has been, telling through, the last 10 years or whatever, how long it's been. So this could be really the third act of Bo-Katan's story. And we're just starting off with Mando and introducing her into it. Yeah.
What if she's the Mandalorian? Wasn't even Din this whole time.
Yeah.
He was talking about Bo.
Right.
No, I agree with that.
Cool.
Din's kind of dumb, bro. Like, Din is kind of dumb. He's not the smartest dude out there. He does a lot of stuff where it's like, not even the nerd, just like lack of awareness a lot of times, or just like saying stupid stuff like, now that's using your head. It's like, what the hell was that? He's just, he's not that smart of a person. So I guess I could, I'll accept Bo leading Mandalore and Din being the muscle on the back of a mythosaur. I'll accept that future too. So I'll alter my theory a little bit if you want. But I agree, yeah. I can't picture him leading a people like that. Louis?
It'd be cool if this universe now they're establishing this Mandalorian society, and then in the future when they potentially drop a trilogy with Jedi and Sith, you have this third group of people who are very competent in battle or whatever. They're Mandalorians. They have armor and shooting and accuracy and missiles, so they don't have the Force, but it's definitely like a formidable opponent to add to the mix to a future Jedi Sith story. So that'd be cool if they're really established here.
Yeah.
And I'd prefer Bo-Katan being the leading position of that.
That'd be cool. If they want to stick in that era and they throw in Mandalorians, that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Well, they're bringing all the live action shows together somehow, aren't they? Like Ahsoka, Mandalorian.
Yeah, that's what the rumor is.
I wonder if, dude, that'd be fun. They need a big bad for all these shows to come together, right? I wonder who it is.
Yeah.
Thrawn. Thrawn goes to wipe out the Mandalore part 2.
That'd be sick.
I'm curious if Boba Fett's going to play a part here, and this is why I ask. Not so much because I want him to show up, but we're going into Mandalore. We're going in the origin of Mandalore and everything. And his dad, Jango, had a massive role in Mandalorians before the Clone Wars. He was actually a part of a faction known as the True Mandalorians before the Clone Wars kicked off. And Boba Fett, actually, I think in the original trilogy even, he has the sigil of a mythosaur on his shoulder. I'm pretty sure his original outfit even had it in Empire Strikes Back. So Boba Fett's been involved with the mythosaur and the Mandalorians before anything, and Jango was a massive, true, Mandalorian, and he wasn't the clone. He was actually, a true-blooded Mandalorian. So I'm curious if Boba Fett's going to show up at all among these Mandalorian conflicts.
He's got to. Same way that Mando went into his house,
right?
Into his season. Boba Fett's going to come.
He's got 2 episodes.
Yeah. All right, Dave. Is there anything about Grogu in this episode that stood out, or just an average day at the office for him?
It was all right. Pros and cons to it. Obviously he developed. Apparently, again, he was training with Luke for over a year, so now he can do triple front flips pretty easily. But Yoda doing flips looked way cooler. I mean, Baby Yoda, it literally looks like somebody grabs the arm of a doll and goes, whee, and makes it do some flips in the air. Like, it just looks like somebody just tossed a plush doll into the air. So
Totally agree.
It doesn't look that cool. But, it was cool seeing him be able to be on his own and escape. Even though for a second, it almost turned into the Leia chase scene kind of deal. It wasn't as bad, but it was starting to kind of get that vibe. But, at least we know he can survive on his own and stuff. But yeah, the flips, they look kind of goofy.
And he's using the Force.
Yeah,
he's
getting better.
He tried to free Mando.
Yeah.
But he was very worried about R5 and then worried about Mando. So he does have these attachments.
Yeah.
He's very, he's a very caring young man. So
Darth Grogu.
Hopefully that, does not lead him down, because fear
young man
is the path to the dark side.
That's actually a great point. Yeah. I didn't think of it that deep, because he literally chose Mandalorian over the Jedi ways. Like, he chose to stop training and go be with Mandalorian. That is directly the path to the dark side, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're not doing... I'm just glad he is evolving. Like you said, he's doing things by himself. He's not playing the baby anymore. We don't need to see the baby that thing played out enough. And kind of like Groot did. Mm-hmm. Like, Groot's been the baby for a little too long. Like, he didn't do anything from the whole Guardians 2 movie all the way until Infinity War. He makes Thor's hammer, which is cool. But that's, like, the only thing. We want Big Groot back, and I'm glad they're not just going to keep a forever baby in Grogu. But R5, that was cool. Little callback to A New Hope. That was really cool. Who would have thought we saw the first droid that Luke basically turned down comes back to... I guess, check the atmosphere on Mandalore, see if it's livable. So that was a cool Easter egg. Yeah. I like when an Easter egg, like, they could have done any droid for that, but they chose one that we're familiar with, not only, but it's from the original movie. Like, that's fun, and it had a purpose. It wasn't just shoved in there for an Easter egg.
Yeah.
And
I called that.
You did.
Called that last episode.
And he clearly has a bad motivator, because
he doesn't want to do shit.
He's not brave at all like R2 is. And, astromechs are built to be, brave, because they're literally on the outside of a starship in space in the middle of battles. So you have to be crazy like R2.
It was interesting. You could still see the oil stains from where his motivator blew in that scene in A New Hope. And I'm just thinking, nobody's cleaned this dude in 30 years. Like, somebody put on a new panel or something, a paint job, like, help the man out. But... dude, real quick, funny-ass fun fact about R5. So there's actually a comic run. It was Marvel Star Wars comics. It's no longer canon, unfortunately. But there was a comic run that stated that R5 was actually a Jedi, and that he intentionally sabotaged himself in A New Hope in order to get R2 into Luke's hands. Like, that was in a comic book by Disney or by Marvel and Star Wars. Like, he was a droid Jedi.
Crazy.
It's all planned.
He knew he was following the Force. R2 needed to be a player.
So, like, they wrote that and then published it.
Without R2, nothing would have worked out. That's the Jedi way.
Yeah.
That's the Force. Mm-hmm. All right, well, that covers my talking points. I'd like to open the floor to either of you with anything else that you noticed or liked in this episode.
Yeah, I have a few things. We did go back to Tatooine, which JD called.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy that we went back to that place.
We've never been there.
Dude, but it looked like it was a fun time. Like, there was that, week-long carnival celebration going on, basically. So it would have been kind of cool. I wouldn't have been upset if they had some, funny ass celebration stuff going on for, another 5 minutes. But he got out of there quick, and we kept the story going.
Right. Yeah, while we're on Tatooine, so I don't know if you guys know, but the pod race that Anakin races in Phantom Menace is called the Boonta Eve Classic. So that's the same holiday. It's a Tatooine holiday. So I heard that, and I was like, that sounds super familiar. And I guess a bunch of people were expecting a pod race to happen, because it was literally, and you could see actually people doing donuts in the Tatooine streets and stuff. But it's a holiday after a famous hut where they basically just drink, gamble, and pod race. So it sounds like a freaking great time. But yeah, I loved it. We got Tatooine. I got nervous. And they got the hell out of there really fast. So that was really refreshing to only spend 2 minutes there and then leave.
And Peli Motto's running some crazy scams, taking his speeder apart, charging him for it, and putting it back together.
So sketch.
So
Yeah,
Peli Motto, that's her name. I referred to her as the tech rep.
Yeah.
Peli Motto, yeah. Not a huge fan of her
Peli
character.
tech rep.
She's a little obnoxious.
She's okay.
I think she's okay, yeah. Just peppered in. Like, I'm glad we don't have too much of her. I'm glad, like you guys said, we got in and we got out of Tatooine quick. The first time I watched it, I think being on Tatooine again took me out of it, and I didn't even really engage in the whole Mandalore thing. You got to start off your episodes with something cool, man. You can't just do something generic. It might take your audience out, and then they might not see all the beautiful stuff that comes after.
I'm with you on Pelimoto for sure. She's like, yeah, like you said, she's okay, but it's just too much at this point. Like, every time she comes in, she says the same phrase. She does some comparison to something we don't know what the hell it is. Like, every other sentence, it's, you were leaping like a lurman. That thing purrs like a perrier. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, it's all she says. But, yeah, she's all right. I think she's kind of ran her course for me, though.
You heard it here first. Dave wishes Pelimoto's death. She's ran her course.
Kill her, bro.
Whatever
won't kill
was
her.
done
She's too integral to the story.
What's her name in Andor is what you want done to her.
No, she's a nice lady. Just, get original
you
content.
hate her so much. All right, well,
we didn't talk about the creepy ass General Grievous.
Oh, the droid
spider with the. I actually really like that. It gave me prequel vibes.
Very
Something
creative.
like George Lucas would have creative. Yeah, very creative.
Definitely. It felt Star Wars. Like, it definitely felt like, it totally had the Grievous vibe, obviously, because it's the robot with some type of organic eye inside of it. But yeah, just super cool little Star Wars vibe.
Yeah.
And a what?
And a brain. It's a brain and an eye.
Yeah. Collecting lightsabers,
seems like he came straight out of the quantum realm from the Ant-Man movie and jumped into Star Wars.
Right.
Yeah. Probably
Dude,
more creative than anything in the quantum realm.
If Disney owns Star Wars and Marvel, they should just do a multiversal jump through Tatooine real quick and just don't ever visit there again. But just a little bit. Just go through.
Let's do it.
And then be done. Because if you go any farther than that, then the fandom in the real world might actually go to war, like over the smallest little detail that they might get wrong during a crossover.
Heads will roll.
Yeah. So, what do we expect for the next episode of The Mandalorian?
I don't know, because the pacing of this show has been so much quicker than usual, which is awesome. Honestly, I love it. So I don't know. We've seen so much of the stuff that happened in the trailer already in 2 episodes, and 1 episode was 30 minutes. Like, it was a super short episode. And in 2 episodes, we've already seen that new Mandalorian crew with the armor. We've already seen Mandalore. We've already seen the Mythasaur, Bo-Katan. Din already bathed in the waters, and we're 2 episodes in. So that's a refreshing. Usually there's 4 side quests on the way, and there's a bunch of other stuff. Like, we're pretty far into the plot already, so I don't really know. There's a lot of time for a lot of stuff to happen. I just got Civil War.
Right. Yeah, it's hard to tell because, Din didn't even finish his ceremony before he got ripped under, so I'm guessing we'll finish that in the next episode.
Yeah, that's a pattern. Keeps happening to them.
But with Bo, it seemed like in the beginning she was like talking shit on Din's beliefs, and saying, these are children's stories. Like when I was a kid, we took the creed, but it was all about, theater for the subjects.
Yeah.
But it seemed like towards when she kept watching him and seeing what he was doing, she kind of gained some respect for him.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think she's going to immediately try to duel him for the lightsaber. But it also was kind of funny when, I don't know if it was funny to me. I don't think it was supposed to be funny to anyone else. But when Bo-Katan was talking about her dad, and she said, he died defending Mandalore, and I was just like, of course,
was that the funny part? Oh
no,
bad.
I was like, of course, Mando's cult terrorist ass is so jealous that her dad died defending Mandalore. He gets all serious, oh my god, I wish I could do that.
Salute.
This is the way.
Your father was a hero. Yeah. He was loving that. Dude, Bo talks a lot of trash about the cult for somebody who helped the Death Watch cult rise to power and helped put Darth Maul in control of her entire planet and watched her sister get murdered by that same person while she did nothing about it. She talks a lot of trash for somebody who was involved with the cult herself and did some pretty dumb things over the years. So, glass houses, Bo. Glass houses. I don't know.
Damn, that's some steep lore right there. So Darth Maul killed Sabine. Is that what I got?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that was Obi-Wan's, an old flame of Obi-Wan. Satine Kryze.
Satine.
I
was thinking
she was the leader of Mandalore.
Who did you just mention?
Sabine Wren.
Yeah, Sabine from the Rebels, yeah.
Yeah, so this is Satine from Clone Wars.
That's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
For sure. But Sabine and Bo-Katan are related, right?
No, Satine and Bo-Katan.
They know each other.
Yeah,
Satine's her sister. Yeah,
stupid.
They might be. You never know. Mandalorian.
No. Let's not confuse people out there.
Yeah, sorry. Different. Sorry.
I've never felt so confused. And I've like read books, all the Star Wars. I'm a pretty good fan, but I'm like getting confused now with the Mandalorians, Bo-Katan, Dark Saber, Sabine. There's some things. That's why. But it's actually kind of nice in a way to be on this podcast, and I can just ask you guys because some of the audience probably has the same questions.
Yeah, no, I agree. I find myself forgetting what time period we're in, or like how far removed we are from major events with all these different shows and jumping back and forth and the Boba Fett timeline of Rebels. And so I find myself having to stop and be like, wait, when the hell did that happen? And so, it's getting a little confusing.
It's actually funny when I was watching with my wife, and when they landed on Mandalore, she said, "Is this the same place they were in the last movie? Like talking about the Death Star wreckage?"
Oh, straight up.
No, this is completely no.
Yeah, you never know, but they are trying to tie it back to that movie.
Yeah, it did look like a huge sphere that was cut in half. It was just like a huge city-side coliseum. It was actually a cool shot.
Mm-hmm. Forget to mention, I love the Grogu and Bo-Katan scenes, by the way, while they're walking into that dome. Like, we get the little line where she's like, I don't know what they told you about me, but, I knew Jedi growing up, and believe it or not, we actually got along pretty well and fought together. And so you think it back with her and Obi-Wan fighting together against Maul and his Mandalorians, and her teaming up with Ahsoka, through Clone Wars Season 7. So that was a cool little Easter egg again.
But later she does say, what are you looking at? So does Grogu, it was a funny scene, but is Grogu like mind reading her in a way to where he knows her true intentions, to where he's kind of like staring at her and she's looking at him like, what are you looking at? Like, are you, reading my mind right now?
Yeah, I don't know how he communicates, so maybe he's got some form of telepathy, because I don't know how Din understands him now.
Right. It seems like him and Din are communicating way more than before. Like, maybe, he's got a little force in him. Everyone does.
Yeah, because Din couldn't understand him last season. Ahsoka's the one who told him what his name was. Like, Din had no idea how to communicate. And for the last year and a half, he hasn't been with Grogu. So I don't know how they're communicating right now. Maybe get a little explanation behind that one, but...
I wonder what age the species starts speaking. That'll be good if he could just talk. It doesn't have to be so cryptic.
Yeah. He's like on 54 now,
He's getting up there, man.
50s.
Yeah, I think I'm over the cooing noises now. It's cute still, but yeah.
Never. It's hilarious every time.
I had a super quick nitpick with this episode, but one of the stupidest lines that it felt like they were trying to be like deep. And Mando's flying Grogu around and they're looking at the maps and he goes, "As a Mandalorian, you must learn to navigate maps. That way, he will never be lost." It's like, bro, that's just how maps work. I think everybody does that who flies in the galaxy. That wasn't deep or only pertains to Mandalorians. That's just how the world works. Like, super deep, Din. Like,
you must learn to use a calculator if you want to sum or subtract large numbers.
A Mandalorian must learn to eat, otherwise he will die. Like, oh, damn, you guys are crazy.
Okay, so speaking of that, when Bo gave him the soup and he didn't know what it was, speaking of, he doesn't know his Mando history very well. But, if if you're about to go purify yourself in the waters, might as well eat that soup with your mask off or your helmet off, you know?
Right? Get it all
Right?
out.
Yeah,
You can
get
do
it
all you
out.
want, dude. Curse out the armor right now. Pee on your helmet. I don't care. You're about to jump into the water.
Oh, shit.
All right, any other thoughts before we wrap it up?
Yeah, so I just wanted to touch on one thing, kind of going back to what you said about Star Wars last episode. I kind of think Star Wars actually is in one of the better places it's been in for a while. And now I know there's been a lot of stuff. Boba Fett wasn't great. We haven't had a movie in ages. We haven't had a good Star Wars movie in ages. So I can't defend cinema for Star Wars because I don't even know when we're going to get our next movie. Okay, yeah.
Right.
So that alone... Yeah, it's just, I was thinking about it, you know, and it's like, okay, so we do have The Mandalorian, which it's been amazing. You know, the first time it dropped, it was huge for the Star Wars community. We got Andor, which has been great. It's not Force and Jedi, but it's really a unique quality Star Wars thing that I think really blows up the catalog for Star Wars as a whole. And then we got Tales of the Jedi this year, which was a really cool surprise that we got our Jedi and Sith and our Force kick out of the Tales of the Jedi a little bit. Clone Wars Season 7 was a little bit ago, so I guess I won't count that one. But yeah, we got Mando coming in now, and then we have the Ahsoka live-action show that's about to come out with a Sith-centric TV series as well that's about to come out. So I feel like as long as they don't drop the ball here, we actually could find ourselves in one of the best Star Wars eras we've been in a while. Because even when the prequels dropped, they weren't appreciated then. So it's not like the early 2000s was great for Star Wars. Like Star Wars was getting shit on. The prequels didn't blow up until mid 2010s, pretty much, like where people were actually appreciating it as a whole more. Revenge of the Sith did, but they're more appreciated now than they were when it actually came out. So yeah, I'm feeling better about Star Wars' future as long as they get their movie shit together.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, think about it. Ahsoka, Thrawn, Mandalorian, who's random. We got Boba Fett back, even though that show sucks. Grogu.
Yeah.
There actually is a ton of good stuff. I just missed the opening crawl and an amazing movie to come after an opening crawl with that music. Like, there's nothing. That's one of the most magical movie theater feelings ever, is reading that crawl and waiting to see what kind of crazy Force shit you're about to see. That's different. And
I'm with you, brother. Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
Can't disagree on that.
I think where the story is right now, I think that one of the coolest things you could do is have like another Force user, somebody who might have survived the Purge because he was tucked away somewhere and no one ever freaked out about his powers and reported him. So he never cared about the Jedi Sith mythology and all that stuff. He doesn't care about the rule of two, but he grows up and decides to use his powers to destroy the New Republic or something. Let's say in this current Mandalorian era. And because the government might have tore his family apart or something, and he just comes in, no lightsabers, he just has a ton of Force powers. And you got a Mandalorian team who's freaking stacked. You got Ahsoka, Grogu, Mandalorian, Bo-Katan, like the good guys team. Who's gonna like be a problem for the good guys?
Prime Luke.
That'd be sick. Yeah, exactly. Luke helps him too. So if you had somebody super powerful and Force sensitive, but is not a Sith and just comes in and offers him like he's a worthy adversary, he's going to tear shit apart and they have to stop him. Something like that would be so sick.
Yeah.
I'm down for that. And it's not Palpatine related. So let's just get the hell away from Palpatine. Yeah, I like that.
Well, even if they go post sequels, which seems like they are going that way, the sequels are only like what, a year and a half, 2 years tops. So it's a blip on the timeline.
True.
So it's easy to work around. The whole main battle happened on Exegol, this planet out in the, unknown regions where no one really, knows about. So it's not like there was this like, worldwide news event that was on, CNN and Fox News, on Coruscant.
There kind of was, though.
So they
didn't even hear about
called
the planet
them all.
until that movie.
Didn't they do like a universal broadcast, and then all the rebels from all the planets and systems showed up?
Lando,
so there it is,
like, God damn it, Lando.
Okay, but still, my original point,
keep cooking.
It was only a year and a half on the timeline, so it's not like it was the prequels or the original trilogy, which is a little bit longer.
Right. Yeah.
It's so vast. You could do any time period. You could tell any story. It's so vast. You could do pre-sequel, post-sequel, during the sequel, somewhere else. Like, you could do anything. There's a lot of Force-sensitive people that did not get killed by the Purge or did not join the Jedi Order.
Mm-hmm. And it's a huge galaxy.
Huge galaxy
going on at the same time.
Freaking giant. You could do a completely different galaxy where they never heard of Darth Vader. I kind of want them to have heard about Darth Vader at some point.
Yeah. He's got to be a nighttime terror story.
Right.
Cautionary.
He's
tale.
a Nexus being.
Yes.
Okie dokie. So thank you for joining us here at Why So Sidious Podcast. Don't forget about our YouTube channel that's now up and running, along with our Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Why So Sidious Pod. Email us at whysosidious@yahoo.com. We got some more Novice Nerds coming your way, some more coverage on Jonathan Hickman's New Avengers or Infinity, wherever we are, and some more The Last of Us, the series finale, and maybe a top 5 Star Wars novels. So tune in. See you next time. In 2025.
Breaking news: the top 5 Star Wars novels has been pushed back to 2026.
That's perfect.